What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video covering Bitcoin mining for the month of January. So I typically do these updates monthly, and I think that they're helping a number of people out, so I'm going to continue doing them. So I'm going to be covering the price of Bitcoin over the past month, as well as difficulty discrepancies. However, first there are actually a few things I would like to talk about. So first things first, and I know I've mentioned this in a lot of other videos, Bitcoin miners are loud. So if you don't want to be hearing a loud box fan-like noise all day long, make sure that you're putting your miner in somewhere where it's not going to bother you. For example, a garage, a basement, all of those places work, even a storage room. Second, Bitcoin miners run hot. So if you live in a hot climate, make sure that you have proper cooling for the miner. If you live in a cool climate, maybe you can use it to heat your room if you're okay with the noise. But otherwise, make sure that you have the miner situated in an area with good ventilation where you can actively monitor its temperature and don't have to worry about that too much. Now, actually going off of those two topics, miners are honestly more available than they have been in the past few months. The AmpMiner S9 is much more widely available than it was even last month, and that's honestly great. So that's keeping prices a little bit more well regulated, as well as offering some good competition to AntMiner. And really, that's what we need to see more of. We need to see more competition and more companies producing miners so that more people can have access to different kinds of miners. Also, I can't personally claim to know what's going to happen with Bitcoin in the next few months or even over the month of January. I am relatively experienced with cryptocurrencies, but I'm not going to say that I'm any sort of prophet or anything. And honestly, take everything I say with a grain of salt. This video is for research purposes, and if you don't agree with something I say, back it up with evidence, let me know what your thoughts are. And as always, keep an open mind. Next, of course, we have to cover electricity costs. So the average cost of electricity in the United States is roughly 13 cents per kilowatt hour. I've included a map of the United States power costs and a map of Europe's power costs. If you live in Canada, Norway, or other countries, absolutely feel free to research power a bit further. Of course, using a power bill is always the best means of finding how much your power actually costs. Don't just use a power map to get an arbitrary understanding of your electricity costs. Actually do research on that and make sure that you know what you're paying. So all of these calculations will actually be run using 13 cents per kilowatt hour because that is the United States standard, and that's where I'm located. Also, if you use solar or wind power, you can pretty easily offset electricity costs, but actually buying those implements could be relatively expensive. One more thing that I should mention before we get into difficulty is the use of pools while mining Bitcoin. Using a pool combines hashing power in order to increase the frequency of payouts for everyone involved in a pool, and pool fees usually come in at right around 1%. So if you're using a pool to mine, you will be paying a bit more. So in this video, I'll also be covering 3 of the most profitable miners right now. I'm not going to worry about any other miners because honestly they aren't too important right now. Now let's go ahead and move on to difficulty. So here is a 1-month chart displaying Bitcoin difficulty. Now, as you can see, it has risen over the past month. However, the price of Bitcoin has also risen dramatically over the past month. And typically, you see difficulty scaling with rising prices. So because the price has declined a little bit, and if we actually take a look at more of a 6-month difficulty chart, you can see that the difficulty typically does not rise as dramatically as it has recently. For that reason, I think that over the month of January, we will probably see difficulty scaling that's relatively reasonable as long as the price doesn't explode like it has in the past. Which I would obviously love to see, of course. I think that'd be fantastic if the price did fly up again. But for the time being, I'm going to mainly cover current circumstances. So essentially, I'll be covering the net difficulty that we're at now. And as I mentioned previously, we need to talk about price. So over the past week, the price has actually relatively stagnated. There was a bit of a rise toward the early week, but toward the end of the week, everything kind of cleared out. As you can see here, over the past month, we hit a high of roughly $19,000 per coin in mid-December. However, we have kind of descended from there. And that also factors into the rise in difficulty. But over the past 3 months, you can see that we're actually still in pretty good shape here. That high of $19,000 was pretty impressive, but we did fall a bit from that point. However, I do feel pretty confident that we could make a recovery. So with that being said, let's get into the real meat and potatoes of this video. So the first miner that I'll actually be covering is the AmpMiner S7. Now this is pretty widely available on eBay, typically for around 1400 USD. Generally it costs about $100 to ship, but you can find free shipping, okay? They also usually include a power supply, which is really quite nice, because then you don't have to hunt around for one, and it's just a lot more convenient overall. The hash rate is 4,730 gigahashes per second. It uses 1600 watts of power. Of course, the power cost here is 13 cents per kilowatt hour. The pool fees, 1%, of course, as I discussed previously. At the time this video was made, Bitcoin was sitting at roughly $15,642 per Bitcoin. So, of course, that could definitely change. And I think that we should all expect it to change. But these are just current circumstances. So total hardware cost about 1400 USD. So as you can see, the power cost with this miner is actually somewhat substantial. You would actually pay about 1822 USD in power alone, if your power is costing 13 cents per kilowatt hour. So, however, if we get into the numbers, you would actually mine 0.00002646 Bitcoin per hour, which is a profit of 20 cents USD per hour. Daily, you would mine 0.00063498 Bitcoin per day, okay, which is a profit of $4.84 per day. Weekly, you would mine 0.00444489 Bitcoin per week, which is a profit of $33.89 per week. Monthly, you would mine 0.0190492, which is a profit of $145.25 per month. Annually, you'd actually mine about a quarter of a Bitcoin at 0.23176917 Bitcoin, which is a profit in USD per year of 1,767 USD and 22 cents. So that means that currently, at current prices and at current difficulty, you would break even with an AmpMiner S7 in 289 days. Now, I would typically consider a good break-even period for a miner to be under 100 days. However, with the prices receding a bit as of late, I think it's honestly rare that we would see a break-even period of under 100 days. Unless you can get these miners for next to free, or you aren't paying for electricity, it's probably not going to be very likely. So next, I'll be covering the Avalon Miner 741. Now this is not an AmpMiner, but it's still a pretty impressive ASIC miner overall. So these typically go for about 3,850 USD on eBay, and they do often actually include power supplies. You can get them pretty quickly too, and you'll pay relatively little money for shipping. So the hash rate for the Avalon Miner 741 is 7,300 gigahashes per second. It uses 1,150 watts, 13 cents per kilowatt hour, of course, those are the standard rates, pool fees of 1%, and the total hardware cost, we'll say, is $3,800 because that is roughly the average that I found online. So with the Avalon Miner 741, the outcome is still pretty good. You would pay 15 cents in power per hour that you mine. Annually, you'd pay $1,309 in power, which isn't all that substantial. It's not too bad. So hourly, you would mine 0.00004083 BTC, which is a profit of 48 cents per hour. Daily, you would mine 0.00098 BTC per day, which is a profit of $11.59 per day. Once again, not too shabby. Weekly, you would mine 0.006859998 BTC per week, which is a profit of $81.12 per week. Monthly, you would mine 0.0293998 BTC per month, which is a profit of $347.66 per month. Annually, you would mine about 1/3 of a Bitcoin, slightly more, 0.3576972 BTC, which is a profit per year of $4,229.89, which is once again pretty impressive for a relatively inexpensive miner. So unfortunately, this miner has the longest break-even period of all. The break-even period is about 327.9 days, which isn't really all that great. If you're okay with paying less for a miner and hoping that the price of Bitcoin increases, then that could honestly be pretty advantageous. So now let's move on to the Antminer S9, the piece de resistance, if you will. So unfortunately, the S9 is still pretty expensive. It's going to cost you around $6 grand total if you want to receive the miner within the month. Which, as I said before, the availability is much better. It used to be that you'd have to wait 1 or 2 months to get an Antminer S9, and I'm honestly happy to see that the availability is much more reasonable than it once was. So, the S9 mines at 13,500 gigahashes per second. It uses 1,300 watts of power, 13 cents per kilowatt hour, of course, 1% pool fees, and the total hardware cost is roughly $6,000 USD. So very expensive, honestly. However, mining with the Antminer S9 is really pretty profitable. So hourly, you would actually pay 17 cents in power because it's not all that power hungry, and yearly you would pay 1,480 USD in power, which honestly isn't all that expensive. It's better than the AmpMiner S7. So hourly you would mine 0.000075551 Bitcoin, which is a profit of 1 USD per hour. Daily you would mine 0.00181232 BTC, which is a daily profit of 24 USD per day. Weekly, you would mine 0.012686626 BTC, which is a profit of $168 USD, of course, per week, which is honestly looking pretty good. Monthly, you would mine 0.05436967 BTC, which is a profit of roughly $720.32 per month. That's honestly pretty good. Now annually, you'd mine 0.66149763, so roughly 2/3 of a Bitcoin annually, which would be a profit of 8,763 USD per year, which is honestly once again pretty nice. And finally, it would take you roughly 250 days to break even with the Antminer S9. So honestly, if we look at the S7 and the S9, the break-even period is only different by roughly 30 days. And because of that, because the S7 is much more affordable, you may find it more advantageous to look into the S7 as opposed to the S9. Those are just my 2 cents, of course, but if you're interested in getting your hands on it more quickly and saving money, the S7 could be worth your time. So once again, as I stated in the start of this video, I am not a fortune teller, okay? I can't claim to know what exactly is going on with everything all the time, and honestly, these are just some simple calculations to help everyone out. So I hope that you learned something from this video. If you do have any questions at all, feel free to ask, okay? I would encourage everyone to do further research and to become more comfortable with the topic personally. And don't be afraid to be cynical. Miners are expensive, and if you aren't comfortable getting into mining or you don't know what you're doing exactly, ask a lot of questions. It's going to be worthwhile if you avoid paying $5,000 for a miner that you won't end up using or are unable to set up. So please make good, educated decisions, be aware of expensive prices online, and keep mining those cryptos. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. This channel is powered by viewers like you, so if you like the content, visit our Patreon page. If you make a donation, your name will appear in every single video.